Hey, so what's with the launcher? Well, we realized that hunters weren't going on deeply volatile quests. What? Yeah, apparently the descriptions were too scary. So you use these to show them how easy it is? No, we use these to force them. Try not to die. Oh, but why? Ladies, gentlemen, and hunters of all ages, Wild Hearts has been out for over a week, and many players are either approaching the endgame or are firmly ingrained within it, and so it feels like it's the right time to go over this properly. Obviously, there will be spoilers here if you haven't reached the endgame yet yourself, so be aware of that. So then, what is the endgame in the most basic sense? Realistically, there are 3 parts to it. The first is weapon farming. Getting a perfect weapon in this game can take a dozen hours or more depending on exactly what you want. It is a reasonably chunky task that you probably won't undertake until after the story is done, and it requires you to farm a bunch of different kimono quite a bit, but that is sort of just preparation for the true endgame, which is the volatile and deeply volatile kimono. After you beat the final boss of the story, you'll meet a Tsukumo outside of your house who gives you some information. Your main quest objective will be updated to hunt for deeply volatile kimono, and on your map you'll see some new symbols for quests, ones that are pink and ones that are red. The pink are volatile kimono, which have beefed up stats, and the red are deeply volatile kimono, which also have the beefed up stats even further, honestly, but also have a few unique moves or combos that don't exist on that kimono in any other version of the game, which is really cool. To do a deeply volatile kimono, you need 9 keystones from the appropriate map. You get these keystones by slaying regular volatile kimono on the same map. Once you have enough, you can face the deeply volatile, and the keystones are only consumed upon victory. To begin with, there are 4 deeply volatile kimono on the map, and as you defeat them, they will disappear, unable to be done again. For a lot of people, deeply volatile RageTail, for example, isn't that big of a threat. You'll probably get that done pretty early, but deeply volatile Deathstalker? That's a whole other story, so you may well be wondering, what is behind that main quest to defeat the 4 deeply volatile kimono? Is it worth rushing towards with absolute fury, or is it just a sort of general long-term goal? You may also be wondering what the system is really for, what it gives you, what it unlocks, and just why it is worth doing as a general concept. So to put it simply, once you've defeated all 4 deeply volatile kimono for the first time, there will be a story conversation cutscene and the deeply volatiles will be refreshed. All 4 of them will return to the map, able to be done once again. At this point, you can do them as many times as you'd like. They no longer disappear after being done, but they do of course still have the keystone cost. So why do you want to do the deeply volatile kimono then? Well, to put it simply, they have the best possible talisman rolls, and talismans are the true near endless endgame of Wild Hearts, the second part of the endgame. You can equip 5 talismans at a time, and so the goal is of course to find the 5 best possible ones for your specific weapon and build that you can fit together within the total cost limit for talismans. And deeply volatile kimonos seem to always drop the high roll talismans. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will be good for you every single time, but they are dropped from the talisman pool that the game considers to be particularly high value. So if you want to hunt down a set of perfect talismans, deeply volatile farming is the way to do it. As for the regular volatiles, these exist for 2 reasons. 1, for the keystones that let you do deeply volatile farming, you need to do volatile to do deeply volatile. Secondarily though is magical orbs. Every kimono has its own unique magical orb, and every map has a magical orb tied to it as well. Magical orbs are used to make cladding, which is essentially just transmog or layered armor. Once you make an armor piece as cladding, you can wear it as a strictly visual piece on top of your actual armor. Making even one piece of cladding can be quite expensive though as far as these magical orbs specifically go, so if you want to get yourself into your ideal fashion set, it could take quite a bit of work. But of course, there are ways to make it easier, as with most things.
I can go fast.
So with that, there are a few more things to cover. Now that you know what the proper endgame is and how to do it, and what it actually gives you, as well as what is behind that ominous final objective of defeating 4 deeply volatile kimono. How do we make all of this as efficient as possible? What is the most efficient way to farm magical orbs for making cladding? What is the most efficient way to get keystones so you can challenge the deeply volatiles more frequently? And of course, what are the best tips I can give you for actually defeating the deeply volatile kimono themselves? As for the orbs themselves, there is actually a neat trick to this. As you defeat a volatile kimono quest, it will disappear and a new one will pop up on the map. They rotate per the kimono that are available on each map. There are quests for singular volatile kimono and quests for dual hunts of different volatile kimono, and each have their own positives and negatives to completion. Personally, my favorite method of farming magical orbs specifically is actually a little bit cheeky. Step 1 is to rotate the volatile quests until you get a dual hunt involving your intended target. If you want a specific kimono's orbs, then it must be that kimono. If you are just after the map's orbs, then any kimono will do. Generally, the easiest one to hunt will be preferred for pure efficiency purposes, obviously. Once you have that dual hunt quest on your map, for me this is one involving King Tusk, because I want Hirogasami orbs and also King Tusk orbs, and on top of that I consider King Tusk to be arguably the easiest fight on this map, even easier than Ragetail, for me at least. Maul just sort of wrecks him in particular. Then eat up your buffing food. Go on the dual hunt and take down your specific target, just the one that you're there for. After that, well, start the quest again from the main map. Don't do the second kimono. You will keep the rewards that you got for killing the one kimono, you don't have to wait for the 30-second post-quest timer, and on top of that, you don't use up your food buff as you didn't technically finish the quest. Not to mention this means that the quest won't rotate out. Again, if you finish the quest, it will rotate with another volatile at random for the map, and you may not have your preferred target anymore. But if you just do this on repeat, killing one of the two targets and restarting, you can near infinitely farm the magical orbs for that kimono as well as the map relatively simply. No need to rebuff, no need to overthink it, and it saves some time on loading as well. Not to mention that the orbs aren't part of quest rewards, only kill rewards, so this is particularly efficient for that purpose. It's worth noting none of these orbs are guaranteed drops, though they are very random. Sometimes you'll get one orb for a kill, sometimes you'll get 6, varied between the kimono specific orb and the map orbs. There is a ton of RNG to the drops for this specific thing, but this is the most efficient way that I've found to take advantage of the system. As far as keystones go, that is a different story. You get 1 or 2 keystone per kill on a volatile kimono, but you get 2 for a single kimono quest, and you get 4 for a dual kimono quest when it's finished. So you get twice as many for finishing as a quest as you do for killing on average. So if you want to farm keystones as efficiently as possible, you do the opposite to what you do to farming the orbs. You just complete the easiest quests available to you. Generally speaking, the supremely efficient way to do this is to do a solo kimono hunt, which will give you either 1 or 2 keystones for the kill, then 2 from the quest rewards. Then do a dual kimono hunt, which gives you 1 or 2 per kill, then 4 from the quest rewards. At minimum, that is a total of 9 keystones, which is exactly enough to challenge a deeply volatile quest. Simple as that. With that then, what about the deeply volatiles themselves? Well, one first thing to note is that it is relatively obvious that each deeply volatile only fights in a singular zone. You'll notice this quite clearly the first time that you do one. They always spawn in the same place and they don't leave that zone mid-fight. This is something that we can take advantage of with tents, of course, as you can put a tent right outside of their zone and cut down on travel time. After all, these quests have a really short maximum time limit, so optimizing our actual uptime on the kimono is key. As well, you want to get yourself as many celestial Tsukumo camps as you can. These give you the hunter's arm effect before you even hunt, which means if you have absolute maximum thread, you could even start the fight with 48 thread in tow, which is an insanely strong place to begin from. You want multiple of these if you are failing the quest, so you don't have to wait for one to refresh before trying again. As far as the actual hunt goes, then there are 3 big things to mention as far as I'm concerned. The first is, don't be afraid to use chain traps and harpoons, or fireworks to mount a ballista for the deeply volatile Dreadclaw who flies. Fusion Karakuri aren't a cheap victory. They aren't cheating, they aren't broken, the entire game is balanced around you using these and creating periods of downtime for you to apply your damage. Use these tools, abuse them, don't feel bad. These quests are extremely difficult and you only get 1 life thread on them, so make the most of it and use everything at your disposal to make it easier. On top of this, never ignore the healing vaporizer Fusion Karakuri, because the kimono will never leave a zone. Healing water is more limited in these quests than it normally is. If you find yourself running out of healing water and feeling the need to run out of the zone to go find healing water, then timing out on the quest because of the time that you spent searching for more healing, running the healing vaporizer isn't a bad call at all. This Fusion Karakuri is nearly a full heal for the cost of 5 thread, and it also leaves a heal over time effect on you.
That sounds nice.
The second tip is your build. If you are going right from the end of the story into a deeply volatile, you probably haven't put a massive amount of effort or time into making a proper armor set or a properly skilled weapon. If you are doing this and find yourself dying a lot or timing out on the deeply volatiles, then you may want to consider just farming better equipment before you try again. Remember, these are the genuine endgame of Wild Hearts. They are officially speaking the hardest hunts in the game as far as the damage numbers, health pool compared to time limits, and life thread conditions go. Take them seriously and don't be surprised if they beat you up a bit if you go in underprepared. That's not to say that they are undoable without a fully finished build by any means, but they definitely get a lot easier once you have a finished build. On that note, there is one extremely specific skill I'd like to advertise to you all for each path choice. For Kemono path specifically, that skill is called Resurrection. This skill prevents you from dying 1 time from a hit that would otherwise kill you. Normally this skill is just okay, but in Deeply Volatile Quest it is actually a big deal as you literally only get 1 life thread, and so this basically doubles your chances. This skill is good especially as as it is on boots, and Kemono Path armor tends not to gain too much from the boots otherwise. For Human Path, the skill is Celestial Breath. I value this skill extremely high on any hunt in the game, but even more so on deeply volatile creatures. It makes your thread meter tick up constantly as you fight a Kemono, giving you the ability to place notably more Karakuri throughout a fight. Whether you use this for more traps or more damage, it really will add up, especially as in these quests you don't change zones and running away to go mine a thread node is a waste of a short timer. Not to mention, if you use this in conjunction with the healing vaporizer that I talked about earlier, you become extremely hard to actually kill if you stay on top of it and actually use it when you get hit. Of course, on top of that, no matter what you're wearing or using, use the Hunter's Arm mechanic, and if a part of the kimono starts glowing blue, just hop on up there and stick your arm deep in it. Thread is so important in this game. It gives you so much, and on deeply volatile quests, you want to take advantage of everything that you can. And that just about does it, everyone. The full guide to the deepest depths of the endgame of Wild Hearts, the volatiles, deeply volatiles, and what happens afterwards. The best way to farm magical orbs for armor cladding, the best way to farm keystones to let you challenge the deeply volatiles, and the best tips that I have for beating the deeply volatiles as well, which again is how you farm the technical best talismans possible within the game. I hope you've all learned something helpful and hopefully also enjoyed the video as well. Like if you like the video, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.